Hindi ba impossible dream to?
No, it's not an impossible dream. We are actually in the process of doing that right now. Even before Manila Bay cleanup started, we started last year. The MWSS Regulatory Office has already directed the 2 concessionaires to fast-track the implementation of the sewage master plan.
For us to really appreciate the task at hand and to get into it, I mean, give us some...
Parang something tangible ba?
Something tangible.
Well,
and also some indicators that we would like to check down the line.
Well, actually I mentioned earlier before in the previous interviews that Manila Bay is actually 10 times worse than Boracay. Which the coliform levels there is actually 10 times worse in Boracay, and you cannot swim in Boracay. In Boracay, you're having difficulties already, but what more in Manila Bay? So it's impossible to swim there. It's actually dangerous.
Yeah. When we say coliform levels, what exactly does that refer to?
That's it's actually the coliform level is the level that's being used to measure the cleanliness of the water. If it's if up to a certain level, there's class A, class B, class C, and it will depend what class level the water is. So if it's for recreational use, for swimming, for fishing, and for drinking.
Class ano ngayon yung water?
D.
And we aspire for it to be at what class?
Dapat class C pwede na.
Class C means recreational
class C,
pwede?
For fishing.
Fishing
and,
pwede na.
Dapat pwede na.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember, I used to cover the ANR. And more than, I think, around 20 years ago, the Supreme Court already came out with an order, di ba? Not just specifically to the agencies, to the regulators, to the LGUs, and basically everybody was given a task. You should do this, you should do this, all the way to the DBM. Na sinabihan ng DBM, you should have a budget for cleaning this up. And here we are 20 years later, and it's as if we're taking the first step. Is that an accurate summarization of how we got here?
Well, that's an accurate assessment, but ang clear dito, it needs coordinated effort. Because you have different departments with varying overlaps in jurisdiction and all that. What's important here is like there's a clear objective that they would clean up Manila Bay, starting from the improvement of the water quality. From right now in quality for is around 100. MPN means mean probable number. Ang allowable lang sa regulations would be 100. Kung di ako nagkakamali right now, it's around 300. And then based on sa DNR statements, I think they would like to pull it down to around 200 within the year.
Yes, but
it will take longer than that one to pull this off.
But what happened since the Supreme Court order? I mean, until now, walang nangyari?
And most likely, the enforcement of the laws has somehow failed because we have enough laws to begin with. Each of the establishments should establish their own water sewerage treatment plants before putting in the water to the rivers and eventually ending up in the bay. In fact, when Secretary Simato did the rounds of the establishments, clearly he could easily see that something's going on.
Sabi naman ng some quarters in the private sector say it's the responsibility of the water concessionaires to install the sewage treatment plant for all to use. Ano bang tama doon?
That's true. It's the responsibility of the 2 concessionaires.
Kaya daw hindi nag-install yung individual, especially these old establishments like Aristocrat. Ginawa daw yan before all these laws on environment came out. So wala sila nung treatment facilities na yon.
Normally all commercial establishments are required to set up their own
They are required kahit noon-noon pa.
They need to put up their own STPs.
Okay.
So right now, the 2 concessionaires, actually, you can't build an STP overnight. And it's going to cost a lot of money to build an STP. Right now, we just inaugurated the Manila Water Reclamation Facility in Parañaque. This cost 1.7 billion pesos. That's just for Parañaque lang. So you can imagine the cost involved to build
You inaugurated, which means you didn't break ground just now. I mean, you inaugurated. Which means what? The concessionaires were already in this process before pa?
Yes, that's correct. There's a master plan. The concessionaires, both concessionaires, have a sewerage master plan for the next 20 years until 2037. That's the intention is by the time the end of their concession period, Metro Manila would be 99.9%.
Are they on track? Are they on schedule?
To be honest, no. They're delayed right now. And that is why actually we appreciate the efforts of the DNR to assist us. The problem, I'm sure you're going to ask, what's the problem? The problem is really the two concessionaires want to build the STPs, want to build the conveyance lines, but they're facing a lot of challenges to
From
achieve
where?
this.
Right of way, ganon.
Right of
Kasama
way,
na rin yan.
issue permits. The local government units won't issue the necessary permits for them to build the sewer lines because it's going to cause traffic.